When we do these mini walks and talks, they last about 30 minutes, that's the idea. So, and I do them on the hour, so you get about 6 in the day. I adapt the content to suit the group. So if we've got quite a number of children, then I want to keep it interesting for them, because if you keep the children happy, the parents are always happy anyway. I hope the sun comes out, because when the sun comes out I can get the children to come over to the rocks, and if they look very carefully, when there's really good sunlight or with a little torch, you can actually see all the little sparkly bits in the rocks, and that's the quartz, which is why quartz is a mineral harder than steel, and that's why it's used for millstones, hence the name millstone grit. But of course, Brimham's not just about rocks. We have fantastic views, and one of the reasons for coming into this area is to show them the views across Nidderdale and over the moors towards Massam. The dads are usually impressed when you tell them that's where the Black Sheep Brewery and the Theakston's Brewery are based. Often if they're on holiday, that's been part of the trip anyway. There are 3 famous rocks that you see in guidebooks and on postcards. And if people don't come this route, if they just stay between the car park and the information centre at Brimham House, then they actually miss the 3 most important rocks. We've just passed the Dancing Bear, which is easily recognisable. And also from here you can see the Druid's writing desk. Back in the 1970s, when Steven Spielberg's film came out, E.T., it suddenly became E.T. Here at Brimham, the rocks obviously don't need any work. So the main work the conservation team do is actually looking after the moorland. So it's bracken control, it's silver birch control, it's looking after the heather. It's a triple SI site, so we have to look after it. We can't neglect it. So a lot of work's been done over the last few years controlling bracken so that the bilberry and heather can prosper. You see here we have the remains of some bracken that's been treated, but you can see now this is the bilberry. Obviously there's no fruits on at this time of year, but it's a nice sturdy plant. The bracken previously would have been 2 metres tall and probably overshadowing this all through the summer. We're coming up to the what I think is the most spectacular rock here. This is my favourite rock, and this is called the Idol. Originally it was the Druid's Idol, because many years ago one of the visitors, who was a self-proclaimed rock expert, decided that all the rocks had been man-made, because he thought he could see chisel marks, and in fact we know that's not true, but he did claim that Druids had actually made them, so that's why we've got, so the names have got the Druid link, the Druid's Idol, the Druid's Cave, the Druid's writing desk. We also have the Druid's coffin, which is really interesting. There's a good story to tell about that, which the children find particularly interesting. There's lots of stories about the Idol. The man who did the water gardens at Studley was allegedly offered £1,000 for anyone who could remove the idol completely and take it to his water garden. Obviously that never happened. We tend to go this route now on the short walks. Although 30 minutes seems quite a long time, there's a lot that you really want to get into it, and we have to keep moving. I think the Daymaker groups, the mini walks and talks, tend to be small groups. 6 or 8's perfect. Any more than that, and just the mere fact of trying to keep together extends the time you're doing the walk. The thing about doing a 30-minute walk on the hour every hour is that if people want to ask you further questions at the end of the walk, you've still got 20 minutes or so to be able to chat to them and perhaps explain further some of the things that you've covered in the walk itself. But we come here because we're on the edge of the moor now, and certainly in the summer months when the heather's in bloom, which is usually August, it's absolutely stunning as you come out from the rocks to the more open aspect of the moor. And it's here where we can talk about conservation work that we do. And because we can tell them about the helicopters who came in about 18 months ago to help cut the moor and take the heather away and bundle it up, and then eventually it ended up at Marsden Moor, another trust property, to reseed their moor. So it was doing us a favour because our heather was getting a bit old, and it was doing them a favour because they got the moor reseeded, and that was all for nothing to the National Trust. It was paid for, I believe, by the water companies. We often get asked where the rocking stones are. Well, there are quite a number of rocking stones at Brimham Rocks, and these here are the ones that rock. It's actually really easy to be able to tell them how to get to them if they want to come back later, because just 100 yards away from us is actually the refreshment kiosk and the toilet block. So you can easily just guide people here and let them play on the rocks to the heart's content. The easiest way to show people is, well, I still can, I climb up here. I mean, how many thousands of feet have been in that little slot? So you can climb up onto the rock and you can demonstrate it rocking, and also you can describe from above the Druid's coffin. Now, the reason the children are interested in this, because of the gory details, is that this is supposedly where the human sacrifices took place. And how do we know that? Well, it's the coffin shape, but also the fact that you can see a pool of water down here. Well, that was where the blood of the human sacrifice would be kept. So children really like that story, and so do I. So we've just done roughly the route that is the 30-minute mini walk and talk. We're almost back at the starting point. And of course, one of the things we do, because we're so close to the refreshment kiosk and the shop, is we can explain about the fact that the profits from the shop and the profits from the kiosk all get ploughed back into Brimham for our conservation work. So every time they buy a cup of tea or a sandwich or a souvenir from the shop, they're actually helping our work here. Okay? I'll switch off now.